definitely going to jump into something completely different. And today we're going to take a little step back into my childhood and go into a game and do a review on something that I haven't played in a long time. So join us as we do a review over Battletech, the Beginner's Box.
All right, so this week, as Scott said, we're going to talk about the Battletech Beginner Box. And Scott, why don't you just kind of give us a rundown of what was in the box? We did a little unboxing video and kind of show you that footage right now, but tell us about what came in this beginner box and tell us a little bit about what Battletech is, because you played it before and I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, Battletech really is now, you fast forward into the year 3000 whatever, and these mechs basically kind of rule the Earth or whatever planetary system that they exist on, and you're kind of battling out between factions. And so within the box, as we showed, there's a lot of lore, there's a lot of backstory. It's very almost synonymous to Warhammer, I would think. I've never personally played Warhammer, but there is a deep, rich history of Battletech. There's been other games that have mimicked it. Like I remember playing video games of Mech Warrior, back in the day. So it was very similar to that, where FOSSA used to own all the rights to that. And I didn't see that on here in any way, shape, or form.
No, it's actually Tops.
Tops owns it now. So there you go.
I'm really disappointed that there was no square pieces of bubble gum in there.
That's right. Bazooka Joe comic at the end of it. But yeah, so this really is kind of just an introductory to the rule set. So for me, what I found interesting was they definitely made it simpler in terms of being able to dive in and get into those skirmishes. When we played, we just played, one-on-one, but you can definitely have multiple mechs, you can have multiple people, and I think the more you do that, the more strategic and tactical aspects that come out of it.
We were literally just blowing the crap
right, we would just get face to face. We would just go at it, but it was learning the mechanics is basically what it came in. So I think it did a good job overall of presenting kind of the basis of what the game is and kind of what the combat system is like, and then they give you a lot of options and a lot of opportunity to make it more complex, and you can kind of do it iteratively, which I thought was cool. When I originally played it, you basically went from never playing it to the advanced rules. So the heat system now is part of the advanced. It's not part of the beginning, and that was something that we had to learn when I was younger and trying to figure out how to manage heat and ammo and all these things, when all you want to do is exactly what we do, which is face each other and kind of blow each other up. So
this was kind of like playing a game of Diablo as opposed to something that's more tactical. So for me, like, this was the first time I've ever played this game. I really, with a couple of exceptions, I haven't played. Well, I've played war games, but not the skirmish type game like this before. And I've wanted to. I just haven't had the opportunity to. But I really enjoyed this game. Like, it was. Now there's a lot of math.
Yeah.
Like I can see if you had bigger mech armies, like even if it was only 2 players, if you had multiple mechs, that you're going to be doing a lot of adding.
Have paper and pencil handy, or a calculator or something.
And they give you, of course, those cards that represent each mech and little spots for you to mark off your damage. But I can see that you don't want to do that. You don't want to mess that thing up,
exactly,
because you want to use it over and over again. So you're gonna be a nerd and go laminate it,
or print out,
or download some off online and mark those up.
And that's what we did as kids. We definitely did that.
And like, it's like D&D, man. I didn't go buy character sheets. We just made our own, right?
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. Like, it was a lot of fun, especially, I mean, honestly, just getting in there and blasting each other was a lot of fun. And even, we played 2 games and we're just getting started, and Scott hits me with one weapon and blows my head off and I'm dead.
That's it.
It was literally like we spent an hour reading the rules and 10 seconds playing the game. So we played again, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, there is a lot of adding, and I could see that if you have more mechs and you're gonna be slower about things, and the way we played it was pretty fast paced, because we just jumped in and shot each other, and it was fun. But I do see the appeal of the more strategic side of it,
especially with more mechs.
Right.
And I mean, speaking of which, the rules, as you read through them, I will say that there was some ambiguity.
Well, it wasn't always worded kind of funky.
Yeah, it was worded weird. So it's easier to, I guess, skim it and actually played it. We picked it up a lot faster, and I had this, and like I said, it was different than when I first learned, just because there was no heat system and some other aspects of it. But we picked it up pretty quick, and once you got it, the funny thing is like we kept flipping back and forth these pages that had all these graphs, and then at the very end,
there's all the tables that we needed, and we kept flipping through the book.
So that's all you need to play, honestly, right there.
So can I see that? Yeah. So this is the rule book that came with it, a quick start rules, and it's kind of we didn't understand at first. We opened it up, it's like, oh, it says quick start rules right here at the beginning, right on the first page. Well, yeah, the whole book is the quick start rules, because we're dummies and we didn't read the cover.
It's a typical name, right?
Right.
Well, we'll push this thing.
Yeah, I don't need the directions. Give me the dice. Give me the dice. So yeah, some of the things, like the way that modifiers work. So I'm a D&D fan for way back, and the way modifiers work in this is that it adds things to a number that you already have, but that's bad.
Right.
Okay, but in D&D, it adds numbers for you, and it's good, right? You add a +3 Constitution modifier. Right. That's good, right? That's not a disadvantage to you. And so the way that they worded some of that when they wrote it was a little like, it wasn't until we actually got in and started playing it that I understood what they meant.
You were like, oh, cool, I'm just going to jump all over the place and shoot my lasers.
You're going to suffer a +3 modifier. I'm like, what? How is that suffering?
Right.
But I do think, the rules are generally pretty easy to understand. And the things that weren't so easy to understand once you got in, like the stuff about line of sight and some of that stuff, once you got in and started playing it, it made sense.
Right.
And I'm trying to remember, there was something else that I thought was nice. And like, it comes with a nice map, and it's a paper map, and a couple of actually really nice minis that I think would be a lot of fun to paint. Yep. We might paint some of those in the future. But in the end, I thought it's really fun. I like the way that they divide up parts of the mech, and that's how you deal damage, is different parts of the mech.
Because the second game, he basically took off
the right side of your body.
First was my arm, and then it was my torso, and then it was my right leg, and then the way that the damage system is, it has a flow, so if you lose pieces, it flows to another area, and eventually he did enough damage to my right side, it ended up in my center torso, and just boom at that point. So it was pretty cool. Yeah. Final verdict, fun factor for the Battletech Beginner's Box. What do you think, Scott? I think I loved it. I have that history with it, so it brought back a lot of memories for me, and it just wants me to, try the other game modes that they've given, and eventually get into the more advanced, but it's also wanting to play with other people. So, don't get me wrong, it's fun with 2 players, but I think it's great. Yeah, and like I said, I really enjoyed it. I think it could get a little daunting when you have a lot of mechs on the table to do that math. It's all addition, but it is kind of a lot of, you got to stop and add things up and figure out where you are, how much damage you have. And that's where I can actually see the advantage of the cards, and because on the cards there's a diagram. You probably saw it in the footage earlier, but there's a diagram of the armor, and there are circles that denote the amount of damage that armor can take, and that's where I can see the advantage of that, filling those in instead of adding numbers up. Right, we were putting stuff on paper, so having some type of character sheet that we can actually destroy, I guess, during the process. Yeah, but I thought it was a lot of fun. If you've never played Battletech before, go. This box is $25, and so we played. It was just the 2 of us. We played with one mech each, but there are also some cardboard standees for several others, so you could add more mechs to the table, even with the beginner box. But there are 2 really nice minis. It's got dice. It's got pilot cards. It's got everything that you need to play a simple game, and then of course get your feet wet and make it more complex as you want. Yeah. So I would recommend it, man. It was a lot of fun. They did a good job. All right, so that is it for this week's episode of Short Rest Studios, and tomorrow. This episode will be out within a week or 2. Scott and I are actually going to go to Denton, Texas, and tour the Reaper Miniature Factory. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about that. And I'm also going to buy a bunch of minis. I'm just going to bring my paintbrushes with me and just be like, sit down in the factory. Right. I'm just going to take care of business. All right. Well, hey, thank you guys for joining us. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you like this kind of content, definitely like and let us know. Let us know in the comments, like, if you like this kind of stuff and want us to do more
more of it. If there's something else you want us to do, if there's a game you want us to play and review, let us know in the comments and we'll be happy to get on it. So thank you again. We'll see you next time on Short Rest Studios.
Anyway,
Battletech. Battling.
we're going to do a shift.
We're battling tech.
Right.